College is often considered a time of personal growth, new friendships, and new experiences. However, for some students, their time in college is marred by truly terrifying events that linger long after graduation. From unsolved disappearances to eerie encounters in dorms, the following 3 disturbing true college horror stories are not for the faint of heart. These stories reveal a darker side of campus life, one that is often overlooked or minimized until it's too late. Story 1. The unsolved disappearance of Tara Grinstead. One of the most chilling and tragic stories in college history is the mysterious disappearance of Tara Grinstead, a beloved high school teacher and former beauty queen, in 2005. Though she wasn't a college student at the time, she was closely associated with the local college community, and her case remains unsolved to this day, becoming one of the most disturbing cases of a missing person. Tara Grinstead was last seen on the evening of October 22, 2005, after attending a local barbecue in her hometown of Ocilla, Georgia. The 30-year-old woman, a teacher at Irwin County High School, lived alone and was known for her beauty and bright personality. After the barbecue, Tara returned to her home, but the next day she was gone. Her front door was found open, and her car was still parked in the driveway. No one could explain her sudden and complete disappearance. Despite an extensive search, no significant clues turned up for over a decade. There were no signs of a break-in, no struggle, and no witnesses who could offer any helpful information. Tara's family and friends were desperate for answers, but the case went cold. The mystery of Tara Grinstead's disappearance remained one of Georgia's most haunting unsolved mysteries. For years, it seemed like Tara had simply vanished, with no explanation or trace. However, in 2017, after more than a decade of silence, the case took a sudden and unexpected turn. Ryan Duke, a former student of Tara's, was arrested and charged with her murder. Duke, who had attended the high school where Tara taught, had been living in Ocilla at the time of her disappearance. Though he initially denied any involvement, DNA evidence and a confession from Duke led to his arrest. Despite Duke's confession, the case remained unsettling. Tara's body was never found, and questions about what actually happened to her that night persist. The horror of her disappearance was compounded by the fact that the crime remained hidden for so long, with a potential killer living in the community for years without being caught. Tara Grinstead's case serves as a chilling reminder that appearances can be deceiving. A missing person case can remain unsolved for years, and sometimes the most horrifying events happen right under the noses of those who should be protecting us. Story 2. The Ghost of King's College Dormitory. At King's College in London, one of the most unsettling stories comes from a historic dormitory that dates back to the early 19th century. Known as the Haunted Hall, this dormitory has long been rumored to be plagued by paranormal activity. The building itself is a grand old structure, full of charm and character, but it also comes with a dark history that students cannot escape. In 2010, a group of first-year students moved into the King's College dormitory, excited about the prospects of college life. Among them was a student named Emily, who was eager to start her studies in philosophy. But shortly after moving into her dorm room, she began to feel a sense of unease. It wasn't just the typical nerves about living away from home. It was something far more sinister. Emily felt watched, and she wasn't the only one. Several students reported hearing strange noises in the building late at night. Footsteps echoing down hallways, faint whispers coming from empty rooms, and doors creaking open on their own. At first, the students brushed it off as the sounds of an old building settling, but things began to escalate when Emily started having vivid, disturbing dreams. In her dreams, she would see a woman pale with hollow eyes standing at the foot of her bed. The woman would reach out, as though trying to grab her, but every time Emily woke up, the figure would be gone. One night, Emily awoke to the sound of footsteps outside her room. When she opened the door to investigate, she saw a figure standing at the far end of the hallway, a figure that seemed to vanish as soon as she blinked. After speaking with some of the other students in the building, Emily learned she wasn't alone. A group of upperclassmen who had lived in the dormitory before her told her about the building's history, how, many years ago, a young woman had fallen from the top floor of the building to her death. It was believed to be a suicide, but rumors swirled that she was pushed by an unknown figure. To this day, the spirit of the woman is said to haunt the dormitory, tormenting students who stay there. Emily's fear grew as more incidents occurred. Objects in her room would be moved, and she would feel a cold breeze whenever she sat near the window. Her dreams became darker, and soon she began to lose sleep, her mental state deteriorating. Eventually, she left the dormitory, unable to bear the growing sense of dread that seemed to follow her. She moved into a different hall, but even then, she would sometimes hear the whispers in her ears at night, as though the ghost had followed her. Though some dismissed these stories as mere superstition, others believe that the building's dark past still influences the present, with the spirit of the woman trapped in the halls, forever seeking justice for her untimely death. Story 3. The murder of University of Virginia student Hannah Graham. In 2014, the case of Hannah Graham, a missing student at the University of Virginia, UVA, shocked the nation and brought to light the dangers that lurk even on seemingly safe college campuses. Hannah was an 18-year-old sophomore studying biology at UVA when she went missing after a night out in Charlottesville on September 13, 2014. Hannah had attended a party with friends before separating from the group and wandering off into the streets around midnight. She was seen on security cameras walking alone through the downtown area, appearing disoriented and stumbling. That was the last time anyone saw her alive. The investigation into her disappearance revealed a deeply disturbing series of events. Hannah's body was found almost 2 months later in a wooded area just outside of Charlottesville. The investigation uncovered that she had been abducted and murdered by a man named Jesse Matthew, who was already known to authorities. Matthew had been convicted in 2005 of attempted rape, but his crime had gone unnoticed by UVA administrators until after Hannah's death. Jess Matthews' connection to the case wasn't discovered until investigators reviewed security footage from the night of the disappearance, which showed him with Hannah in the hours before she vanished. Matthew, a former UVA student, had picked up Hannah while she was walking alone in the street. It was later discovered that he had a history of violent behavior, including the earlier assault of another woman, but no action had been taken to prevent him from coming into contact with students like Hannah. The horror of this case is compounded by the fact that a person who had been allowed to roam free on campus, despite his history, was able to target and abduct a young woman so close to the university. Jesse Matthew was arrested, charged, and later pleaded guilty to the kidnapping and murder of Hannah Graham. He was sentenced to life in prison. Hannah's story is particularly haunting because it highlights the vulnerability of college students in the face of predatory individuals. It also underscores how systems designed to protect students can sometimes fail, allowing dangerous people to slip through the cracks. The case left her family, friends, and the UVA community in shock and mourning, raising questions about campus safety, oversight, and the need for better awareness of potential threats.